Have you ever noticed something strange? Some of the smartest people you know, the ones with the best ideas, the most potential, are also the ones who procrastinate the most. They plan big things, think deeply, start researching, but somehow the actual work keeps getting pushed to tomorrow. If that sounds familiar, there's a good chance you've asked yourself a frustrating question before. If I'm capable, why do I keep procrastinating? The surprising truth is this: sometimes the very traits that make someone intelligent are the same traits that make procrastination worse. And once you understand why this happens, you can finally start working with your brain instead of against it. Most people think procrastination is about laziness, but that explanation doesn't really make sense. Lazy people usually don't care that much, but people who procrastinate a lot often care too much. They want things to be good. They want things to work. They want things to matter, so they think and think and think until the task in front of them slowly starts to feel bigger than it actually is. Instead of starting the project, they start imagining every possible outcome, every mistake, every flaw, every way it could fail, and suddenly something simple feels overwhelming. Not because the task is hard, but because the thinking never stops. One of the biggest reasons smart people procrastinate is simple. They see too many possibilities. When someone with a curious, analytical mind looks at a problem, they don't just see one path. They see 10. 10 different ways to do the task, 10 different strategies, 10 different outcomes. And instead of choosing one, their brain keeps searching for the perfect approach. But perfection has a hidden cost. It delays action. Because if the plan isn't perfect yet, your brain convinces you to wait. Maybe I'll start later. Maybe I should think about this more. And just like that, another day passes without progress. Another reason smart people procrastinate is pressure, not from other people, from themselves. When you know you're capable of doing something well, the expectation becomes higher. You don't just want to finish the task. You want it to be impressive, well thought out, meaningful. But those expectations quietly turn simple work into something intimidating, because now the task isn't just write the report. It becomes write something great. And when your brain feels that pressure, it starts looking for escape, scrolling, watching videos, cleaning your room, anything that feels easier than starting imperfectly. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Thinking feels productive, planning feels productive, researching feels productive, but none of those things actually move the project forward. Smart people often enjoy the idea phase of a task. It's interesting, creative, low risk. You can explore possibilities without committing to anything. But the moment you start doing the work, things become real, mistakes become possible, progress becomes measurable, and suddenly the task feels heavier. So the brain goes back to what it enjoys more, thinking about the work instead of doing it. So what actually helps? The answer isn't forcing yourself to become more disciplined overnight. The real shift is changing how you start. Instead of asking, "Am I ready to do this perfectly?" Start asking, "What is the smallest version of this task I can begin right now?" Not the full project, not the polished result, just the first tiny action. Open the document, write the first messy paragraph, sketch the rough idea. Once motion begins, momentum usually follows. Your brain stops imagining the work and starts engaging with it. One trick that works surprisingly well is lowering the entry point. Instead of telling yourself, "I need to study for 3 hours," tell yourself, "I'll study for 10 minutes." Instead of, "I need to finish the entire project," say, "I'll just outline the first section." Most of the resistance to work happens before you start. Once you're moving, the task usually feels much smaller than it did in your head. Another powerful strategy is limiting how long you allow yourself to think about something. Give yourself a short decision window. For example, I'll plan this task for 15 minutes. After that, you start. No more researching, no more optimizing, just action, because progress rarely comes from the perfect idea. It comes from iteration, trying, adjusting, improving. Here's the encouraging part. The same traits that cause procrastination are also huge advantages. Curiosity, creativity, deep thinking. These qualities make people capable of solving complex problems and creating meaningful work. But those strengths only matter after you start. Ideas are powerful, but action is what brings them into reality. So if you've ever felt frustrated with yourself, thinking, why do I keep procrastinating even though I know I can do better? Remember this, you're not broken. Your brain just loves thinking. The goal isn't to stop thinking, it's to start acting sooner. So tonight, try something simple. Pick one task you've been avoiding and start the smallest version of it. Just one step, because progress doesn't come from perfect plans. It comes from starting imperfectly. And once you start, everything becomes easier. Let's improve one step at a time.